All right, we are live.
Hello, welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 432. I'm Otto, and tonight I'm joined with Jared.
What's up, guys?
The Alex, the NFL is scripted.
Yes.
AKA Arian Foster.
Yeah.
I'm not watching football again until next year.
At least they need better script writers, at least, right?
Oh, and that for all you listeners, that was the stochastic terrorist himself, James Babb.
Great to be here with you, inciting random violence.
And two special guests tonight. Not just one, but two. We got a loaded show. So first off, introduce Leighton Radner. I think this is your first time on the show, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Awesome. And Forest Mommy back again.
Hi everyone. Thanks
What
for having
is
me
up?
back.
Of course,
Show
of
favorite.
course.
Fan favorite, definitely.
For sure. So so we were talking about this right before we went on. Like what so I didn't understand what stochastic terrorist meant, but apparently you have some audio visual evidence to prove that you are stochastic.
I didn't understand
terrorist.
it either until AOC explained it to me. So
So here, let's hear it from the horse's mouth, literally.
All right.
I think it's uncomfortable serving with people who engage in what many experts deem stochastic terrorism, which is the incitement of violence in
Many experts.
which is an incitement of violence using digital means and large platforms, so that individual themselves may not be the one that's wielding a weapon. I think it's uncomfortable.
What?
That
That's
was
not what
just a lot of
stochastic
words.
means.
What is this commie gobbledygook?
Right, but it's what many experts now say. So
Yeah,
let's just go with
experts.
that. And words are violence, and therefore we're going to have to control words more. Right? That's pretty much the way they always go with this, isn't it?
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, this is what
What
we're
if
doing
somebody
now, I
said the
guess.
wrong thing, and then somebody did a wrong thing?
I want to
better-
see the Google Analytics for stochastic after that clip went out.
Yeah.
I had to look it up today. But not from her. Someone said it to me on a post. I didn't even know she said it till right now. Someone else said it to me today. So I got the joke now.
It's been added to the lexicon.
But it actually means random, right? In statistical
st-
sense. I'm not really sure how it ended
Yeah,
up in this
Makes
being
zero
being
sense.
used in this way.
It means randomly determined, having a random probability distribution or pattern that may be analyzed statistically, but may not be predicted precisely. I'm not sure what
Maybe
that has
that's
to do
what it
with
means, that
social
last part.
media
Predict
or
so your
platforms or
violence
what.
is predicted statistically, even though you can't specify it specifically.
Hmm.
Maybe
I
that's
guess
sure.
so.
This is over my head.
way to go, AOC. I mean,
Way above my
she's
pay
smart.
grade.
She really, she can teach us stuff. So,
Can't you?
way to go.
It's just so
Amazing.
random and like totally planned and
Yeah, has she always had that, like, what do they call that? The
Up talk?
no, well, she's always had the up talk, but it's the when they
Oh,
affect,
vocal
like
fry?
the vocal fry. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like this is like a new affectation. No, I don't recall this. from her.
Dude, we get her in a room full of black people, and all of a sudden she'd be like, "Yeah, girl, that's what I
Yeah.
said." Yeah, like she does the.
She's
Hillary
like Quentin
Clinton thing.
Tarantino, right?
She's a
gonna
chameleon.
No, she's gonna pull a hot sauce bottle out of her purse one day. You know it. Like, that's the level of cringe she's at.
She learned from the best.
I have a cousin who talks exactly how you're explaining, and so it's like I'm just hearing their voice in the back of my head.
That's sad.
So terroristic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
God, this world sucks. I don't know.
I want to
Like,
leave
that's
this
the script.
timeline.
Yeah, this script and the timeline really fucking sucks. But
Right.
God damn.
Yeah, give us some boots on the ground report going on up in Alaska there, Leighton. What's
So
what's happening?
let's dive right into this shit. Apparently now all of a sudden there's UFOs all over
Everywhere.
the place.
Yeah.
All over your land, all the way from the Great White North.
So they all seem to be passing through here. I don't know whether or not we're just some super highway for shit, but no, I think recently what's happening is I think you have Russia and China who both would be floating things over here, but I think like sighting wise, everything was kind of quiet. I didn't hear like people messaging me being like, hey, this person saw this thing, this person saw this thing. And there's like a pretty decent UFO group in the state. So there's like, but there were weird things that happened beforehand in the state. So there were more Air Force planes being noticed and stuff like that in the air the day before the first balloon was sighted. So I think looking back now, that makes sense because they were probably aware of it before everybody else and up there looking and stuff. But it all comes from Elmendorf, the main Air Force base and base up here in.
Is that from Lord of the Rings? What is
That's
that?
exactly what I was like.
Yeah.
That's Lord of the Rings.
Now, Art, how is that where you are in Alaska? And can you see Russia from your front door, Leighton?
So I cannot see Russia from my front door.
You need to get with
I
that
can see
girl.
mountains.
What's her name? Yeah, what's
Nell and Palin.
There you go, Palin.
Sarah
Yeah.
Palin, yeah.
Go to her house. She can see it.
She lived in Wasilla, and she cannot see Russia from her backyard. I can confirm that. I lived in Wasilla, and you can't see Russia from there. It's surrounded by Alaska.
So there's a lot. There's 2 Air Force bases up there, and then you got the HARP going on up there, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of weird shit in Alaska.
So
You're close to Russia and China. There's a lot of
52
Nice wall.
or 54 miles at the closest point to Russia. And really, since World War I, 2-ish, this has been kind of a strategic point for the U.S. as a military point of view for intelligence. So all of the Air Force and bases here, I mean, on paper, you have 2. There used to be Greeley, which was shut down because they turned it into a radiation hotbed. And then, yeah.
It's funny how they do that a lot.
Yeah.
Same thing with East Palestine.
Ohio.
We'll get to that later.
Well, the largest underground device ever exploded was blown up here on a little island. It was 5 megatons during Operation
cute.
Plowshares and that whole thing, which was the nuclear program that was started.
Wait,
in
you know what?
Megatons.
That
Sounds
Inuit
like what my
fishing
scale says in the
community.
morning. Hey-o.
That Inuit fishing community probably had it coming, right? Like they definitely know who's boss now.
Well, there are still natives up there who do get, are higher risk of cancer and all that same stuff, and the state just ignores that.
God
crap.
bless the USA.
Should have obeyed. If you had just obeyed, they wouldn't have had to nuke your home.
Yeah, and this is the statehood stuff. My tagline on StreamYard from my last thing was Joe Vogler was right.
Oh yeah, I see it at the bottom.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
who's Joe Vogler?
so that's he was a leader of the Independence Party in Alaska back in the 70s, and he put a argument to the UN saying that there should be a redress for the territory of Alaska, and then Iran, the Ayatollah Khomeini, basically started writing back and forth with them and agreed to let him speak at the UN and take their hour slot. And then he was killed like 4 days before he left to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, he was trying to get
Weird.
the state of Alaska to become independent. So we're like thousands of miles away from all the other states and any U.S. support anyway. Like we have
Like
all
any
this
good
oil.
dissident, he died suddenly.
Yeah, he died suddenly. No, he got like actually murdered. There's a guy who's in jail for killing him. Manfred West was the guy who did it. I'm
Lone
making a
gunman?
documentary thing about it.
Was it a lone gunman? Just a radical?
Was he
I
on
guess
the
white
radar of the
supremacist?
FBI?
Yeah.
It was a homeless guy who flew into the state under an assumed name
Oh,
right before doing the shooting, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then he went to basically.
And most people really
Club
have
Fed.
like
Yeah.
some good mobility these days.
What was his
Total what you call it? Fuck.
MK Ultra
Yeah. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Manchurian candidate? Yeah,
It's a
just,
complete cook. And to give you an idea of the details of this case, like they say this dude shot a guy twice in his yard wrapped him in a tarp, and put him in the back of a truck, drove him miles away to bury him, and left no evidence behind of struggle, of moving the body, of any blood from the shooting, of anything. It was
A real
winter,
professional.
and there was
Real
snow on the ground.
It was the aliens.
Yeah, and it was winter, and there was snow on the ground.
It was
So
the
it's
Clinton.
like-
Palin.
Yeah, the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, Manfred West
Alien
was like
human
this
hybrids.
little
Yes.
tiny crackhead dude who was supposedly supposed to have lifted like a 200-pound guy in the back of his truck, and like
Well, could have been a super soldier.
jacked up on all that LSD. I don't know.
Captain America's up there and just moving bodies.
Well, we also
So
have
what's
like
the
Captain
current state?
Alaska.
What's the current state of secessionists in Alaska?
the Independence Party in a big way kind of died with Vogler. They
Imagine
had
that.
they had just taken the governorship before that. So the last third party
had a death wish.
candidate, yeah, the last third party candidate to win an election in the state of Alaska was Walter Hickel, and he won under the Independence Party banner. He was not a pro-secessionist, but he was working towards getting it on the vote, which basically when Alaska became a state, it wouldn't have actually become a state if it weren't for the fact that the federal government jam-packed the state with military workers. And those people made up more of a population of voters than the actual Alaskan citizens. So there wasn't really a copacetic vote on statehood. They just kind of decided that you're joining the Union and then voted on it in the Congress and so on. And so there's a lot of people still around that I feel like are for the independence thing, but I think it's definitely a weaker point now.
How about
there's just not
indigenous
as many.
tribes? Are there like there's any independent tribes up there?
Yeah, there's so a lot of the tribes up here created corporations. So they incorporated and went that route because a lot of the native land had oil. So there was in the 50s, another guy who got killed, most likely by the government, was working to make them a decent deal for the prices on the lands. And then he got killed. And he actually died in a plane crash with Hale Boggs, who was the guy who was involved with the Kennedy assassination reports and everything. So they got a twofer with that one.
Boggs? Did you say Wade
or
Boggs?
Hale Boggs. Hale Boggs. I get those names
Hale Boggs.
mixed up. in
Wade
my head.
Boggs, the
Yeah,
pitcher.
I'm talking about a basketball or baseball player.
Baseball.
No, you were correct. I think I just heard it wrong.
But yeah, so that guy Nick Begich was his name, and he was the governor of the state, and died on a plane crash. And then, even though they used a bunch of spy planes and crap to look for him, they claim they never found him. But I think it was more likely that the plane was blown up and there wasn't really anything to find, which is what his kid and a lot of other people have talked about being the case. But yeah, I think the independence movement's kind of gone. But with the natives, you have a decent kind of pocket of people who still want to live independently. You've got areas where they want to have their own governments and that kind of setup, similar to how you do with like reservations and stuff. But it gets difficult because, again, you have the welfare system and things like that. Drug use is a big problem in the native communities down here because they've become dry. So the government comes in and says, no alcohol, no this from the tribal perspective. The problem with that is everybody just starts getting a hold of worse and worse things. And so now you've got kids huffing gas and stuff like that. And I've had 2 friends in the last 10 years die from huffing gas, which is a
You can
very
die from
common
that?
thing.
You can die from
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. I guess so.
Well, there goes
but
my Saturday night.
I think it's just addiction stuff in general. I don't, it's hard to say whether they're dying from that specific thing, but it's just spiraling kind of stuff over there is really
Were they
easy. And you don't get
vaccinated?
much sunlight.
A lot of alien abductions as well. Like, and
Yeah.
for some
Yes,
reason,
so, no, let's get-
that's usually like women from poor communities end up getting abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
So what about this thing? So now apparently four crafts were shot down a high altitude over Alaska.
What are the actual like bits of real information that we have? Just reports from the federal government, or did anybody like what do we, I mean? So we have no reliable sources.
So this is something that I've been concerned about is like normally with these things in the state, I go to groups that I'm a member of. I look at like, okay, this person got a photo of it with this camera. This person was looking with a telescope and reported back. There's none of that. It seems to me like the only people seeing these things are the government, except for the balloon that was over the first balloon. The first balloon, like everybody saw that. There was coverage. I had people like posting photos from the ground of that one, but this other stuff is less floating around. I just don't see as much of it. And the one craft I know was reported like the size of a small car, and that was the first one that was kind of off the coast of closer, and that was the one they shot down.
That could have also been like an albatross, right? Like that would also be something about the size of a small car, right? That they could shoot down. Like, but we're supposed to believe this is, like better go to DEFCON 4, kind of a situation.
And that's what's led me kind of like with this new stuff that's coming out. I'm very hesitant to take it at face value because it looks to me like more of, hey, we need a bunch of funding, and there's a bunch of people talking about cutting funding right now. So why don't we just create a problem?
Like, and did it start with the big white balloon? Because it's possible like they, these kind of things happen, but I thought maybe that once they saw the public reaction to it, they're like, oh, we can use this for warmongering. Right,
because
like
people wanted it shot down. Yeah,
everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, even libertarians I know, people were saying like, shoot it down. I was the only, one rooting for the balloon.
So I will take a different stance. The state of Alaska and our private militias that we have here, because we do actually have state militias here. That's something that Alaska has, and we have standing military that are state ordered, things like that. I think that thing should have been shot down in Alaska. I don't think it ever should have been allowed to get further than that. 60% of most of our state is empty land. So it's like,
why should somebody not be able to do a little ballooning over there? Why are you such a big buzzkill?
I think my issue was more of if it is something that's from another country, which again, you can't really confirm or deny. Like, it is technically possible the U.S. just floated this thing over.
So would you be more comfortable if it was someone from Washington, D.C. flying stuff overhead?
Oh, no, I'd actually say the state should have
over,
shot
or a Chinese weather balloon.
I think the state should have shot it down regardless. I don't like the idea of something flying over especially Alaska, because of everything that's up here. And we're kind of a black site when it comes to military stuff. I was surprised they let it go over this state without it getting shot out of the air. And then they let it go all the way down into the rest of the U.S. before they decided to do anything about it.
Well, what altitude was it flying at? I couldn't really get straight answers on that.
I think it was when it was over this state, it was 20,000 feet.
So pretty low.
I'm sure it had a tag that said like Raytheon or Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed Martin.
I think it's just some random crap that, like stuff floats up in the ocean, stuff floating around the atmosphere, a lot of stray stuff. Maybe it was supposed to spy on somebody. Who knows, right? They got 100 better ways to do spying than to put like balloons.
That is true.
Hope,
this is
right? Just hope it goes over like that same missile silo that's been there since the 70s, right? Like, yeah, they got satellites, they got stealth aircraft. There's high altitude aircraft.
I think more likely
better ways.
I think more than I mean, I don't think they were. If I had to guess, of course, we'll never know for sure, right? But if I had to guess, it wasn't trying to take pictures, right? You can get a picture of anything from Google Maps, and China has their own fucking spy satellites that are doing the same shit. If anything, it was probably to like intercept communications, right? It was probably like picking up radio waves, picking up all sorts of like things like that. Would be my guess.
Like trying to get Netflix for free.
Right. Like get the porn channels, without having to pay.
Stealing grandma's social security check as it flies over.
Right.
I'm still pro balloon. I think anybody should be able to fly a balloon at 20,000
I mean, who doesn't like
feet that wants
balloons?
to.
I actually think I agree with you up until the point of if another country is doing it, you can identify it. I think it's a different story. But in this case, I don't think you're wrong that we didn't actually know where this thing came from. And now China's going, well, we shot down a balloon over here, which I don't buy at all. I'm like, I think that's just so that they can be like, well, we did it too.
Well, this is right. It's going to obviously turn into some new weapons contracts. I mean, that's where this was headed.
Clearly.
I mean, they'll take just a random thing and be like, okay, can we turn this into weapon sales? And then now maybe once they saw the reaction, they're like, hey, that's pretty good, but it's not enough. And that's why they came up with the second batch of let's pretend there's a whole bunch of stuff going on and get everybody talking about it on the internet, and everyone will get mad, and then they'll demand that we, deploy the Space Force or whatever.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get Project Bluebeam at the Super Bowl, or an alien invasion, but guess
No.
That would have been a really good time to make contact, like right as Rihanna
hack
was
the
had that
airways.
elevated stage, could have
Rihanna.
dropped right in and taken the mic from Rihanna and introduced themselves.
James, can you say that again? How do you pronounce her name? Rihanna?
Rihanna,
Rihanna?
Rihanna. How do you pronounce it?
It's Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
I was like, what's Rihanna?
Rihanna.
I like it.
No, it's not Rihanna.
No.
Rihanna.
Benny Hanna.
Black card revoked.
All right.
Yeah.
When Benny
You ain't
Hanna
black.
was
You ain't black,
performing at the
Jack.
Super Bowl.
You ain't black.
You ain't that black.
Well, did you guys see her performance? I thought it wasn't as good as last year with those legendary rappers, but
everyone's like, it was so good. Oh my gosh.
I
I didn't care at all.
I
Like,
went
I
out.
thought the
Yeah, it
one
wasn't that good.
continuous shot they did, I saw that on Twitter. They did this continuous shot where the camera cut through a bunch of guys as they cut off the side. That was really
it was
cool
like
camera
on a
work.
cable.
The rest
that was
was
good.
like, I don't know, it kind of seemed like the same thing you'd get at a bigger Rihanna stadium show. So it's like, that's just,
I used to dance to a
normal
couple of those songs. So when they came on, I'd be like, yeah. But
Did you see
wasn't-
all the people on Twitter saying that she was secretly coming out in support of Ye because of what she wore and the
Oh
song
my
choices?
God.
I don't know.
Oh boy.
Well,
no.
I
she
think
did-
maybe let's
she did
give
play a
people
Kanye
a
song.
little bit of the flavor of what was there. Could I read some of the lyrics from the song she opened up with? I think that might really, because to me this really spoke to not just the halftime show but the entire NFL. Do you mind if I just read a
Yes.
verse of this?
Spit some bars, Babs.
Okay. All right. Bitch better have my money. Bitch better have my money. Pay me what you owe me. Bitch better have my. Bitch better have my. Bitch better have my. Bitch better have my. Bitch better have my money. So,
Babs, I'm
She's
for
a free
sure going to
market
clip that and add it
capitalist.
to the
She's a free
soundboard.
market capitalist right there.
That needs to be clipped.
It's going right in the soundboard.
This is just like when Charlton Heston, I think he was in front of Congress or whatever. He started reading body count lyrics to the song Time Killer.
Yeah.
It was the best. I wish I could find that clip, but he's reading the lyrics and he goes, "Die, pig, die, die, die." And he goes, and he looks up at the camera and goes, "Catchy, isn't it?"
This has
That
been
reminds me
WAP
so much of
with
that.
this has been WAP with James Babb. Welcome to this is the new audiobook series. You reading songs.
I'm sure some other square has done
I like
a better
this
job.
one.
Great. Smash
I
Brothers
like this
thing.
one.
Yeah, I love that one. That meme was good.
Dude, I saw this not even 5 minutes after that show ended.
Oh, I
That's
know.
How,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah,
good
yeah.
the internet is.
It does look like a Smash Brothers arena.
I was watching. I did not watch any of it. I went outside, had a beer, listened to the Rocky soundtrack because I was like, I cannot subject
And
myself to
listen
this.
to the Rockies.
Yeah, I got to, had to get ready for the stage second half, and that's probably why the field was. Did they have a big elaborate stage? It's probably why the field was all fucked up in the second half, and it was like an ice capade show. Like the turf was all destroyed. But I digress. But
Yeah, what the fuck was up with the turf?
I mean, the fact that I don't.
Apparently
know.
I
they were-
thought the new video game that she came out with was pretty good.
What's that?
The joke didn't land.
Oh no!
That's fine. Mine don't usually either.
Let me sit in it.
No, but the field, the field was like all fucked up. But apparently this had been a constant thing with the Arizona field all year.
Yeah.
Well,
but,
It's
hey,
like I don't
the
get
problem.
like you're in the desert, like you're not going to have a lot of moisture in the ground. Like why is it all slippery and fucked up? I don't understand.
apparently they pull it out and put it out in the sun, and then they put it. It's like grass on a big tray, and they just pull
Doesn't
it
it?
out.
Isn't that better
whole
for the game
tray?
to have them out there, kind of like slipping in the mud and or the snow? Like really gives it. I don't know. Gives it a more entertainment value,
Well, I don't
right?
know.
Than like pristine AstroTurf, right? Like
I don't know if that was in the script, but
talk to set design.
I don't know. I'm not watching football until next year. I'm over.
Well,
I'm
Did
done.
they
with
do any
football.
Training
like
camp.
patriotic flyovers, or was
Well,
there any
that-
kind of like
Oh, yeah.
salute to
So,
the salute
hold
to
on here.
the
This is
to
from
the,
the
to the
halftime
troops
show.
of the CIA?
This
Oh.
is this is. I'm assuming the halftime show is sponsored by Pfizer since Rihanna was dressed like a blood clot.
It's a solid tweet.
Did you see a single Pfizer commercial though?
I don't recall.
No,
I didn't
there
see a
was
single
never-
Pfizer, and I didn't see a single Burger King commercial.
Right. What the
Oh, I
fuck?
saw all the
season?
Burger King. We saw all the Burger King commercials.
I
What?
think Pfizer learned their lesson from the Oscars because they was it the Oscars just a few weeks ago had a
Yeah.
big Pfizer sponsorship, and so everybody was sharing it, and I think they were like, just move that somewhere else, you know.
Force Mommy, did you watch it all? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was eating food mainly, but the football game was on, so I
Not
saw
really.
it.
Not really paying attention to commercials or
No.
the game itself.
No,
What
so
about
I,
the
like I
halftime
didn't
show?
notice anything about the turf, but
So
it's crazy that they have it in a tray and they move it. That's weird.
Yeah, they do that at the Vegas stadium. They do the same thing. It's like this giant. They pull it outside in the sun and then put it. So who knows? Maybe they haven't figured out this technology, but
Maybe that's what the firmament's made of.
right. I don't know. But the
I'm sure the taxpayers of Phoenix were happy to foot the bill for that.
But to Babs's point, I was already like, fuck, I'm gonna be subjected to so much propaganda, and I just want to watch my birds. I just want to watch the Eagles. And the first thing before the coin toss, and my sister and brother had some friends over, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, coin toss. All right, let's go. No, they come out, introduce the captains, and they're like, I tried to find it, but they basically did a whole segue to the military, and these are basically did a whole Pat Tillman thing. They're still milking the Pat Tillman story, and I'm like, my God.
Oh, I did see that. I saw that.
And they brought
Yeah,
up
it like, and it totally killed the vibe too, because they were like getting ready, like launch of the game, like, oh yeah, like let's get pumped, and then it's like, oh, Pat Tillman.
Did the
shit.
people that killed him ever see any kind of justice at all?
No,
No.
he was killed by friendly fire. Remember?
Yeah. Did they even
Because he
identify
was-
who murdered him?
Well, but the thing was, the sad part was they knew about it from the jump, but they kept milking the story to basically more 9/11 propaganda for the NFL.
It's like he
to-
gave
to-
up his NFL career to fight
Yeah,
for freedom, and
It was a huge recruitment tool,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't until years later that the family actually knew the truth. That
Sorry to interrupt.
What
I'm
does it
trying to
say,
do this, but I
Alex
got cut.
or Otto?
Yeah, so this arguably worse than the Eagles lost. I now have my relationship with my mother-in-law to repair after I regrettably called her a bitch, thinking she changed the channel during the Tubi commercial. I don't know if you guys.
Dude, I definitely might have yelled. Yeah, I definitely might have yelled like, "Who sat on the fucking remote again?"
I did that. Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
What was the Tubi commercial? I didn't. What
It
was
made
that?
it look okay.
It
So
was
it
a
made it
clever-
look like. Yeah.
So it started off with like, it showed like what you thought was like a broadcast of the game with like the actual broadcasters. It was like Greg Olson and the other fucking guy, and then like all of a sudden it was like paused and then like changed the channel to like turned on the Tubi app and started like
On your
scrolling
smart
through,
TV.
like you would be scrolling through.
Oh,
So
that's
it looked
clever.
like so it looked like someone like hijacked your fucking TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that shit happens all the time when we're watching TV because someone sits on the remote. And
I was so pissed.
I did see a commercial for Jesus this time. Did you see that Jesus had a
Yes.
commercial?
Oh yeah, dude, those are awesome.
The American Humanist group called it the most disturbing commercial they've ever seen.
What?
Jesus
Wow.
must have a
American
nice
Humanist.
ad budget. Like, way to go, man. Like, that's
Well, yeah,
Apparently
it's
some cult group funded it. I don't know. I don't.
no, it's just some like Christian foundation. They're actually funded by Hobby Lobby.
right. That's what
in
he
part.
said. A cult group.
No shit.
Yeah,
Hobby
well, yeah,
Lobby.
fair enough. Well, apparently Hobby Lobby is a huge donor. It's not literally Hobby Lobby, but yeah.
Nope. From now
Sounded more
on,
like
I'm
a
going to
Chick-fil-A
believe that it's
level.
literally Hobby Lobby. Hobby
Yeah,
Lobby is running a.
Yeah, but
Hobby
I
Lobby
mean,
runs Christian cults.
I just yeah, I mean it's hilarious, but it's also hilarious that it's like produced and better than like 90% of TV shows out right now.
No shit. Yeah.
That definitely. But yeah, to your point, Jared, that definitely put a damper on the game. It just put me right from the start in an instant fucking bad mood where they're like parading out
Tillman
Pat
thing?
Tillman, and then the all-woman flyover to so it was all women fighter pilots that flew over, and of course, so it's like, all right,
Was it
They
all
all
women
crashed.
Was it all women pilots?
yeah,
Yes, all women pilots.
So
I
there's
missed that.
Forest Mommy, you
Even
missed
Forest
it.
Mommy's laughing.
No, there was
Come
a
on.
lag in our thing, and we didn't see the flyby anyway. So I wonder if it. So that was
Yeah,
probably in that
but
part.
they definitely made a point to and they talked more because a couple people.
Well,
you know,
now
at
were
the-
these
at my,
like
sister's house?
I'm not a
or-
biologist, but what kind of women?
women
are we
fly
talking
over? Oh, right. God damn it! I'm not a biologist, but yeah. So then
Were
yeah,
these
and
women
then they
women
bring out-
or recently women? Women.
Recently,
I don't. I'm not sure what you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
I don't know.
Did they have an? Did any of the women have a prominent Adam's apple?
But yeah, it just put a damper on
Either
the
way,
game
it's
right
just-
away. It was god. They're still milking the propaganda, but you know what? The
That's
one
what it's for. That's the whole
Right.
reason the game exists.
right, and it's so one guy at the party.
Yeah, wait, hold
there's
on. Who spends more money, the DoD or the Jesus people, on those ads?
Right.
God.
Well, the DOD
I
gets them
watched-
for free.
Huh?
They're
YouTube
the
Red.
same.
It is worth YouTube. It is
They're the
worth.
same.
It is worth having YouTube Red just so you don't have to watch the unending Air Force ads that you
Yeah.
get. I had
God.
I had a lapse in my payment for 2 days, and I ran to find my card because it is just all of the ads on YouTube now are just all.
Right.
Hey, don't you want to join the military? Have you ever
Really?
thought about joining the military?
They are
I'm
hurting.
so glad
for
I have
recruitment.
RedTube too.
Yeah,
They are
RedTube?
hurting for recruitment.
That you know what's weird is I don't get those in my YouTube feed, and I watch a lot of YouTube.
I pay for platinum, so
Maybe it's
I got rid of
age-based
that
then.
years
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah, I
'Cause
paid-
I'm
Maybe that's what
20.
it is.
I'm
That's
23.
$16 a month ever.
Oh yeah,
Is
you're
that much?
targeted then. You're targeted.
So I'm right in that age demographic. They just don't know who they're giving
Yeah.
them to.
Bad. They've given up on you, man. They're not recruiting you
Right.
for shit.
Right? I mean, they're definitely looking for the most gullible, people out there to target.
Once they decry you on the View, no one wants you.
You know you've gone too far on YouTube ads as far as age goes when your YouTube ads start looking like Fox News ads. It's just like
Oh, I get AARP. I get
Yeah.
AARP.
He gets life
Viagra.
alert. Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
What other
man.
takeaways from the Super Bowl? Anything else we missed, or I might
It
have
seemed
missed?
like a good game. Like I'm not a huge football, but it seemed like they were actually playing like they like to play. I don't know.
Yeah, the script was.
Looks
was
like they were
involved.
Looks like they had
They
fun.
really like playing, guys.
That's
I
what really
hope, I
matters.
hope both teams have a good time.
When they touch
just
the
want
ball,
everyone
they
to have
seem to be
fun.
really happy.
Yeah. But that just
No, but
seemed
what
good.
about that football guy with the missing tattoo? Is that
So that he
I'm
was
drawing a
there.
blank on his name.
Damar Hamlin. He was there.
Damar Han-
Yeah.
Oh
he was,
yeah,
was
he
he
was like
there?
sitting in the stands, wasn't
Yeah,
he? I
well,
saw
here's his
that.
Or was it a
attire.
stunt double?
Well, here's his attire, and I don't know if we could see his.
It
neck
was
tattoo
Lamar
from this angle.
Damlin.
Yeah.
Lamar Damlin.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fact that during the week, didn't he accept an award from the Players Association or from the Players Association, and it was a scholarship or something. It could, because not a scholarship. There'll be a scholarship in his name, and I guess he's going to be working with the American Heart Association. So, yeah, yeah.
I
But
don't
when
even if whatever happened is legit. Why would you be like parading this person out? Wouldn't you want them to be resting for a month on end? Like after
Right.
that,
Like, I
Like-
just don't think this dude's healthy. Like, he died on the field. Like, what the fuck?
I'm
But
sure
the-
they're paying him to look alive. Okay,
Right.
Like we're gonna pretend you're not brain damaged. You're just gonna go out there and
Yeah.
and fulfill your contract.
I put his picture. There's his attire there, Jared, that he was wearing, and it was you could see the back of it. It's the back of his jacket that he was wearing. Apparently, got a picture with LeBron. Might have been throwing up Illuminati signs. But
Of course.
Oh God, yeah, his jacket was cringe, but I don't know if it's Illuminati cringe.
Oh,
I mean,
that looks like my third grader made that. Like,
It might have actually been made by a third grader.
another
country.
probably
You
some,
know what?
probably some Make-A-Wish kid. We're like,
Being paid 10 pesos
Yeah, like
an hour.
like make a guy that's been crucified and turn it into a jacket. Okay, yeah. Like make sure you get
Paper doll.
get good color for the blood. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Now you can't see.
He's kind of got a zombie face going on too.
Yeah,
it's kind of
that
badass.
gives it the
actually.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
And is that a wig? It's like paper doll clothes. Is it a wig? Is it like a long-haired wig right there?
But let's zoom in on the tattoo. Can we see if he has the tattoo or not?
Yeah.
let's see, because I don't know if you could see it from this angle
Well,
because
let
I
me
think
zoom
it's
in.
on his left. It's like
It's
right
there.
behind
You can
his
see it
ear.
behind his ear. Like right
Yeah,
behind his ear.
sure.
There's some, like,
Zoom in.
markage.
I don't know.
I'm having trouble.
Zoom in
Twitter
and
won't let me
enhance.
fucking zoom in.
Enhance, zoom and enhance.
Enhance.
Oh no, that's his earpiece. That's his earpiece, and that's part of his lock.
behind the ear, dude. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm looking.
think I see it too. Yeah,
Oh, I see
definitely.
it. I do see it. I see it. Get close
Yeah.
to your screen like boomerish. And just like,
There's a tattoo there.
yeah.
There's definitely something on his skin, not the hair.
yeah.
It could be. A
It does look like
temporary
he's
tattoo.
trying to like put some fucking what's it called makeup on it.
Joe
Yeah,
said
probably
probably
made by the
made by
kid
the
they got
kid
the
they got the
adrenochrome.
adrenochrome from.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Yeah.
Well, let's all.
man.
I just hope he recovers, and it's probably him. But it's fun to wonder, like,
But isn't it funny to?
I want to believe it's him.
yeah.
I am 91% sure.
Yeah. Did they do any? Did they interview him at all or anything? I don't know. I mean, wouldn't that be the stage to interview him at the Super Bowl?
He just has a completely different voice. It's just like he
Like
looks
a young,
identical.
like a young girl.
Like, but he has vocal fry.
No, it's like the it's
maybe
like
just
the,
a
voice.
Yeah. Oh my god! When I died on the field and they put a breathing tube. Oh my god!
it's the
He
Dave
might talk
Chappelle
like
one.
Glenn Fetterman.
Comeo proportionate.
It was like
what was
it was like
diagnosis?
stochastic, like terrorism, like when they brought me back from life. Yeah.
It's Dave Chappelle whiteface voice.
I love Venn diagrams.
That's what I'm imagining.
Oh god damn it.
Shit.
But I don't know, man. The Super Bowl was like, I know Alex, I know I didn't want to bother you. I also didn't want to be around you either. So one way or
Dude,
another, it wasn't going to
I
be
think-
good.
I think my family doesn't want to be around me anymore.
Just because as a
Oh,
Washington
shit.
fan, I don't think I could handle if they won another Super Bowl and I was around you. I'd just be like,
Yeah, but
I don't want
really-
him to have
I
to
don't
hide
care.
his
Like I
Pennsylvania from
care,
me.
but I don't like care. Like I don't know. Like I
I'm
think
a
I'm
Packers fan, so none
I
of
think-
this interested me.
I think I'm done with football. I'm serious, guys. Like I just don't know if I could stomach the propaganda anymore because it's just
A
gonna
lot of
get worse.
propaganda.
It's just gonna get worse.
But so
And-
people are
and-
upset. They're like,
and the
why do you have
quality of
such
the game
problems
isn't
with
that great. It's just
the
I don't
Black
know.
national anthem? Do you guys talk about that?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
they
what
have
the fuck was that?
But they do segregated national anthems now.
Yes, for the Black
Yes.
national
Yeah.
anthem.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I
I
would-
said they're trying to like Carrie Lake didn't stand for the Black national anthem. I saw that post today.
Meanwhile,
What is it? I mean, what is it?
I don't know.
Did they take the old national anthem and just like play it with like jazz musicians,
Wow.
is it like did they write a whole new tune?
It's
It was,
just
I guess it was a whole new
little
tune.
African drum beat, and then the lyrics.
Wow, we were getting a little racist up in here.
Yeah.
Let's dial it back, fellas and lady.
Well, a little racist never hurt anybody.
But no, people are butthurt about Carrie Lake not standing for it. But honestly, like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Dude,
Nobody knows
stand
what's
for the
going on.
regular national anthem.
I don't stand
Dude,
for
you
the
have to
regular
stand-
national anthem, dude. I got when I go.
2 Magic songs now.
Where's Carrie Lake?
Where's this
I
gonna
know.
end?
Carrie Lake was the Arizona, the Republican nominee. And
I thought that was Ricky Lake's sister or something.
No. But there's pictures of her because the game was in Arizona. And
Me forced me to spit on her drink.
oh, Ricky Lake. Oh damn.
Remember Ricky Lake?
What the
Remember? I had a
fuck?
crush on
Oh,
her.
Ricky Lake.
Cry.
Did she die of like cancer or something?
Jesus Christ!
No. Is Ricky Lake alive? I don't know.
Somebody
I don't
find out.
know.
Force Bobby, get in the doc.
I mean, she was great in Hairspray. Or not
Ricky Lake.
Hairspray.
Oh, she's still alive. Thank God.
Crybaby. Okay, thank God.
Was
okay.
she? No, she was in. No, she was in.
She was in
You had it right.
Crybaby
She was
and
in Hairspray.
She was in Hairspray.
too.
Hairspray, you're right.
She was very likable. She was likable. you
Yeah.
know?
And the
She
show
was
was all right.
54 years young.
She could get it.
So, oh damn. So
R.I.P. Ricky Lake. R.I.P. Ricky Lake. Thanks,
what did she know?
Yeah. And when did she know it?
What information did she have on Hillary Clinton?
But yeah, she's getting flack because of it. But I don't even stand during the national anthem. When I go to sporting events, I try to grab a beer at that time.
Yep,
I try to
same
be
here.
I go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And I think it was one time, Otto, I was at a Nationals. It was a Nationals Phillies game down in DC, and they do some militaristic ritual to support the hometown fan who's back from deployment, killing brown kids in Afghanistan.
Still has 3 out of 4 limbs. Give it up.
Everybody stand and sing God Bless America. And I remember one time I was like, fuck this shit. And it was right when I got out of the Air Force, and my buddy Jonathan, who just got out of the Navy, this was maybe like 2013, 2015. And we're just like, yo, fuck this shit. I haven't seen him in a minute. We're just sitting back, enjoying the game. And I remember like these fucking dickheads were like shouting me down, like, you better fucking stand and support our troops. And both like my buddy and me look at this fucker and be like, how about you shut the fuck up? Like, we both served
Like,
in
we
the Air
are the
Force.
troops, bro.
We are the troops, and we choose to fucking sit here and not stand for this shit. So go fuck yourself. Like,
So I've never
came out of me to because I'm like, I will not go along with this indoctrination. And dude, I'm just saying, it's getting harder and harder to watch these sports that I used to enjoy and just constantly being propagandized. And dude,
I love when the people stand up and then they put their hand over their heart.
Yeah, it's
Like, dude, that's not even the
So
thing.
I've never done that.
No,
I've
you
never
should just
done
put it
that.
out
at a-
forward.
Yeah, Bass hasn't figured out.
That's
I've never done that either. But no, I never stand for the national anthem. And I remember I was at a preseason game at the Ravens Stadium.
Oh,
That's
God,
the
a
only
preseason
time I've
game.
ever
Oh.
gotten shit. And so I'm sitting down, like, I'm not sitting. This was like way before I was like libertarian either. I was just like, fuck that. Like, I don't do that crap. I don't. So I had my hat on, and like my brother's like, dude, take off your hat. Take off your hat. I'm like, no.
Oh, that too. They do that too.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, not. And so some Ravens fan turned back to me and goes, I don't know about down in DC, but around here, we stand for the flag. And I was like, good for you.
Meanwhile,
All right, in this house, we kneel for the flag.
Meanwhile, you live like 5 minutes down the street in Arbutus. Like, I
know, right?
Like,
So
I don't know
right,
what they
and
do
I was
down in
exactly.
DC.
But see,
But
I go to
in
DC all the time.
Baltimore-
I have season tickets to the Nationals. You know, I go every day, like opening day. I even took my kids there, and I was like, we're not standing for this. You guys aren't doing that. Like, we don't worship flags here.
And of
Don't do
course,
that.
DC,
And I've never
so
heard
it's-
it.
of course, it's DC and the belly of the beast. So the propaganda, they lay it on thick during their.
But I've
baseball
never had
season.
anyone give me shit for it, and I
So
do that at
there's-
opening day, like when there's a flyover.
Big air show up here in Alaska every like year or two. I think they used to do it every year. I think they still are. I stopped going. My grandmother used to work on base in Alaska, so we would go a lot and stuff. This is when I was like 14, 15 years old. As one of my key memories from going to the air show, because it was just a based moment that I picked out, because they would have every year all these like veteran guys from Iraq, Afghanistan would get off this plane and like walk down, and it was like this ceremonial thing. So everybody would do the national anthem and take off the hat and whole 9 yards. There was a whole group when I was at the air show that were all Vietnam vets. And every single one of them, when they started the national anthem, everybody stands up, takes off their hats, the whole 9 yards. And I looked back, and the whole group of Vietnam vets were sitting in their seats with their arms crossed.
Wow.
I mean, it was based. And I remember finding out later on that I asked and found out that they were like part of a group that were like talking about medical issues caused during Vietnam. And so they were like totally not okay with like this whole Afghanistan, Iraq thing either. And so they were just against it in general. But that was like one of my like youngest, like seeing anti-war stuff and stuff like that in public.
That's the thing.
See,
that's
I mean,
thing.
all you have to do is just sit down sometimes, and people will notice, and you can inspire people. You just don't stand up for their theater.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a bunch, like 16 guys in the middle of a sea of other people. They were as noticeable as night and day, and it was like, to me, it was like, being 14, 15, like, well, that was in public. Like, they did that. Everybody saw that.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty based. That's a thing in that generation shit. I mean, that era of veterans, and to see the propaganda. And then the fact that I was in the military, I have friends that, that I talk to, and the shit, I get sick. Like, I want to watch football just to escape and watch the game that I enjoy. And it's getting harder and harder just to like with the propaganda. And then I don't know. I think it's scripted. And with all this gambling going around, the bad calls, I'm just like, I can't deal with this shit anymore.
My grandfather used to say this all the time. And he was involved in California back when they were doing betting and stuff like that in New York and those areas. Old school Jewish guy. You can kind of picture him in your head, I'm sure. But he was staunch on, if you can bet on it, it's rigged. If there is a game, if it's a sport and it's being bet on and it's got Vegas odds, there's mafiosos and government and all these other people that are going to have their hand in that pie, making weighted decisions on how things play out. Well, so I don't trust any of it.
That's the thing too. And I think it's becoming more and more blatant because there's so many more people trying to get that piece of that, and the pie's getting larger and larger. And now it's legal in so many states. And it's pretty gross when it's like you turn on the weather, and the weather guy's like, traffic and weather. Hey, download DraftKings. I got the Eagles at -4 tonight. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this is the weather and traffic guy, and he's promoting online gambling.
And it was only a few years ago where Tony Romo, I mean, it must have been like 7 years ago. Tony Romo was forced by the NFL to not appear at an autograph signing because it was, I think it was one of the fantasy football people were sponsoring the event.
It was a GoDaddy. It was a GoDaddy thing. I remember this because I think it was my dad or somebody was pissed about it.
GoDaddy doesn't do fantasy football.
They were involved, I think, with the company.
It was something
something like that. It was like a spin-off thing but it wasn't DraftKings, I don't think. It was before that.
Yet. It was before that, yeah. And so they literally made Tony Romo like not be on this event, which is so stupid because now, like, look at them. Like the past few years, they've been doing nothing but promoting fantasy football, and now as soon as the floodgates started open with the sports betting, now it's like you said, everyone's talking about odds and.
During like the local news broadcast, they'll have a ticker at the bottom that says sign up for DraftKings, get your like $50 bonus.
They're like tragedy in Baltimore, another murder. Meanwhile, sign up for DraftKings.
I've been seeing more and more people, like even recently, like, and this is just common, like conversations I'll have like at the dispensary where I'm talking to one of the guys there because they were watching the UFC fight recently, and they were just randomly in conversation. Like, I kind of feel like everything after the McGregor era in UFC is kind of like decided beforehand. Yeah. And I think, well, what happened during and right after McGregor is UFC went from being these kind of random betting sites and some Vegas odds on certain fights to the entire thing. You can bet on some tiny little fight between guys that no one's ever heard of all the way up the scale. And I think it became, this is almost like a dog and pony show where we can just print money because we have the gambling halls.
It's probably going to be, there's more influence. It's probably going to, you're going to see these bad calls and stuff, and they really need to crack down on some of that stuff, but it's going to be unavoidable. But I did want to hit, where we're kind of coming near the end, but I did want, Jared, if you could play the bass Tom Green thing, because this will lead us into our next topic. I want to talk about this so bad.
I actually want to see this because
this is awesome. This is like, I was blown away.
The other reason.
Oh yeah, go back to
Oh, he's got the X-Files thing in the background.
Yeah.
All right,
this is awesome.
Hi, I'm Tom Green, and forgot to mention the other reason this UFO information is coming out now is because they're trying to distract us all from the fact that we're about to get released the Epstein Island list, as well as what's going on in Palestine, Ohio, with the train derailment and the chemical release of chemicals into the air, which is being called possibly as bad as Chernobyl, and the fact that World War III might be about to start in the Ukraine war between USA, Russia, and China. So that's what's going on. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day. There's UFOs.
That's good.
Seriously.
That was great.
How awesome is that?
Wow, base Tom Green. Wow.
I know.
Maybe one of you can shed some light on this, but I've seen people talking about Epstein docs being released.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything
what
about
is the
that.
deal with that? Other than hearing people
I feel like
say
I hear
it,
that
I
every
haven't-
like 2 weeks.
I hear that all the time.
Coming
I'm
out
not
the
sure.
flight logs.
Right. I right now, but I want to focus on the whole thing about the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. Dude,
can we show some
away.
pictures of that? Do we have
This
any
is
pictures of that? It looked like almost like a mushroom cloud
The Mises Caucus put out a
polyvinyl chloride.
Yeah, the Mises Caucus did a good thread.
They put a good video clip.
Play
This
this.
is awful.
Ohio. The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't
Only a mile
these aren't
radius.
storm clouds. This is the fucking shit. The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine. This
It's
is not
supposed to be a
fucking
controlled
storm
burn.
clouds.
Look at this.
Look at it.
Nuclear blast.
This is from an airplane. And they arrested a journalist who was, I guess, getting rowdy, trying to report on what was happening. And I don't know how accurate this are, but there's like dead fish, people are saying. And
oh, yeah.
Officials are claiming that the air and water are safe. Residents say they can still smell chlorine. They've complained about their eyes watering when they go outside. And one woman says the noxious air killed her chickens.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down and went very fast.
I think so.
No, this is bad news.
Look at all these fucking crows. I'm not kidding. This is
Like,
within
that's creepy.
10 miles of East Palestine.
And now they're saying it's okay. We're back to your homes.
Please leave the area.
Yeah, that's scary.
That music they edited with is a little dramatic too. Just be aware of that. But yeah, that footage is. I heard that earlier, and I was like, I feeling it in me, and I was like, oh, that music's definitely added.
It's like the music they play for like the ASPCA, commercials. Sarah McLachlan.
I think that video's up to like 3-point-something million views, though. That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it a matter of like the train derailment happened, and that was tragic and horrible. But then they're like, well, what do we do now? And they're like, let's blow it up. Like the remaining cars, like they intentionally detonated those, right?
Right. So
I think they were trying to They were trying to stop it from like sinking into the ground was the alleged reasoning, right? They were trying to stop it from.
They said it boils at 8 degrees. I see. This is why you're hearing so many different things. But
yeah, I heard it was on fire before it derailed too. I heard that.
Yeah.
And then now they're claiming that it's all mostly evaporated and everything's fine.
And there's so many
mushroom clouds of sodium chloride.
And there's so many factors that are leading up to this. There's been 3 rail derailments today.
So this is what
today.
Texas had 2 derailments. There was another one I saw. And I made a comment online a little while ago that I'm like, so who's in charge of all the trains? And well, the answer to that, from my understanding, is Pete Mayor Buttstuff.
Yep.
Is the one that was put in charge of transportation. So
there's also a railway worker strike going on.
Right. So on top of that, so I have theorized that possibly Mayor Pete wanted to run in 2024, and this is a black spot that basically taints you now as any kind of future candidate going forward. Now, here's the thing. I don't know
I
if
can
the
assure you
chemical,
my taint has no black spots.
I don't know if the chemical exposure part is actually part of that. Because from my understanding, the train derailed, and it was after that point, to dispose of the spilled product, they decided, okay, we're going to scorch this. It'll evaporate and be gone. And then it caused this bigger problem. So I think the chemical stuff is completely separated from the derailment entirely. And you might be looking at two different fuck-ups entirely. Because the derailment...
Right, or just some kind of, I mean, of course, their infrastructure is crumbling because they're spending it all on themselves instead of on the actual infrastructure.
Right.
We've seen all kinds of collapse. We had a bridge collapse in Pennsylvania last winter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, this stuff's crumbling. And a lot of this, the government has control of a lot of the, like Amtrak and all of these. It's a whole lot of federal control over these tracks, and yeah, stuff's going to happen. There was a train derailment in Philly where I don't think it caused like a leak, but like it could have, like near the city. But this whole idea of blowing it up, like, well, what do we do now? I guess we blow it up. You remember that Oregon town in 1970 that had a beached whale problem?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's another thing. We also have
is it the same mentality? Is it, they're like that? What are we going to do with a big stinky whale? Like, I don't know how much explosives do we have?
I have seen this happen in real time in small farming areas here in this state. But I've actually studied.
You've seen a whale explode?
No, this is a different thing. This is like what the EPA, same kind of action plan. In Kansas and a few other states, they had some flooding issues with farms that had certain types of chemicals that would affect other farms around them. So the EPA came in, they plug up all those farm basins.
Oh, was that what caused like the yellow shit? Yeah.
Right. So then they basically plugged up all the stop drains so that none of this other material would leak in other people's systems. But what they actually did was made it so it all overflowed, and they ended up contaminating like 30% of all the air, like farmland in that area. So this is something they've done multiple, like similar things where they just come in and bungle it because they just put a stop to it, put a Band-Aid on it, and leave it alone. And then eventually it just becomes a bigger problem. In this case, they tried to fix it, and it seems like listen, I can take a rolling paper and light it on fire, and the smoke that comes off of that is black. Like, it's not hard to realize if you light a bunch of chemicals on fire, the chemicals are going to go somewhere. Like, they don't just vanish immediately. And so, yeah, I think they inadvertently just created a much bigger mess than was there before. Whether or not it was intentional or not, I don't necessarily know that, but I don't think you'll ever know with these kind of things. I think it's probably just an obscene screw up.
This was like one of our early episodes. I made the banner. This is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that Silverton, Colorado?
Oh, was it Colorado? Okay, this is Colorado then.
Force Mommy, you know about that?
The mine waste. That was a mining thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's another one in Kansas that involves. There's another thing in Kansas that involves these like
classic
farm plots that were all like next to each other, and so that's how the whole flooding thing happened. They allowed this like chemicals to flood in all the farmland, and it just destroyed them all. Like you can't grow nothing. So.
Well, these are the same people that want to take away our plastic straws and make sure we're driving electric cars, and they're blowing up Nord Stream pipeline.
Right.
They're
how can I
detonating
eat the bugs if you're killing them all?
Fluoride.
Babs, you hit on another good one. Another good distraction of UFO disclosure is the fact that Nord Stream is definitely a CIA op, and we blew that shit up.
Seymour Hersh detonated that one. I mean, we of course knew it was true. Yeah. They were even like, wink, wink, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I wonder who did
So they've actually admitted they've done it now?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you know what? Well, we're gonna tackle that in the after hours because we're coming up on an hour right now. We got to get rolling. We got so much to do. One last thing before we go, I do want to tell you guys, go to the Rage Against the War Machine rally in DC if you can make it. Please, if you can't, donate. We still need some money for everything. It's going to be a huge event. Man, like it's really, this past week has really come together with all the plans. I mean, this thing is going to be huge. There could be thousands of people here. You know, with
my co-host is going.
Really?
Kareem Mays, my co-host, will be over there.
Nice. So we, everyone, rageagainstwar.com, and we'll all be there. All us punk rock libertarians will be there. We're sponsoring it. We're one of our sponsors.
Hey, I want to read a comment. I want to read a comment that was posted on the fundraising site. Remember last week we said, you post something, you mention punk rock libertarians, right? And then we'll read it on the show. Nice. So, Habeas Porpoise.
great name.
That's great.
It's a great porn name.
So he donated to the Rage Against the War Machine. He goes, Punk Rock Libertarians podcast brought me here. Cool to see all these groups coming together to oppose war and empire. The group I'm bringing would be larger if the speakers were vetted better. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, well, that Ritter guy's gone now.
He gone.
I knew he wasn't going to be there. I knew
there was no way that was going to fly. And I read, so my big thing on my show was I didn't cover the whole thing. I just came back after reading into it. I just went and read documents as far as court stuff goes and that stuff.
Yeah.
And I came back and was like, yeah, I've decided that guy ain't cool in my book.
Well, even if he was completely framed. Yeah, even if he was completely framed.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I was like,
so Scott Ritter will not be there. So if that was your hold up, man, just come on out. And Punk Rock Libertarians, just come hang out with us at our table. We'll be
gotten
there
approved for our 5x5. Our dimensions have been approved by the National Park Service.
Everything you guys bring. I'm sorry, this is a side note, but everything you bring has to be inspected by the fucking feds. Everything.
Oh no shit! How am I gonna get
all of your tables?
Even our memes?
No.
How am I gonna get the t-shirts in there?
They can inspect t-shirts. You're allowed to sell t-shirts that are affiliated with the event. You can do like a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt, but you can't do a plain punk rock libertarian t-shirt, is my understanding.
I'll bring the PRL t-shirt, Ken and Jared.
Well, apparently we've been told we can't sell, we're technically not allowed to sell any t-shirts, but
somebody had sent me rules specifically said what you can sell and what you can't sell there. So
I think there might be a make a donation, we'll give you a free shirt type of thing.
Yeah, we'll find a way around it. Whatever.
Let's just put it that way.
We
got a really cool shirt design that
we've got an awesome
shirt
came up
with, and
we're got an email about it. They're on the way.
Cool, cool. So we're please go out to that. And also before we go, Leighton, tell everyone where they can find you. Tell them about your podcast real quick.
So follow me. Twitter is at Liberty Leighton. And then you can go to outlawedthoughts.com. That'll take you to the YouTube page, or you can just go on YouTube and search Outlawed Thoughts. I've been on a couple other podcasts too that are fun to listen to, but I do try to do at least 2 a week. So we're trying to keep that up. And then my co-hosts are Kareem Mays and sometimes CD McRae and Josh Halofka. And then I have some random guests. So I just interviewed Daywalker Comedy, who's a libertarian who does skit stuff on Twitter and things. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I love CD McRae. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
She's so fun.
Well, Farce Mommy, you're awesome. Thank you for coming on again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we're going to record a little after hours podcast right after this. And if you guys want to check that out, sign up for our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. You get access to the live stream that we're going to be doing. So you guys can listen to us live. But if not, it'll get sent to your podcatcher, whatever, in a few days, and you get the access to all of our backlog of catalog of shows. So, and there's different tiers and stuff like that. Go check us out over there. And if you guys don't like using Patreon. There's other ways to donate to the show at PRLfans.com. We also have t-shirts for sale over at libertariancountry.com. If you use the code PRL or PRL podcast, you get a 10% discount. If you use the code PRL2 and spend $50 or more, you'll get a 20% discount. So until next time, live free
or die.